Okay. Uh, Today sa inyo lahat. Okay. We are recording our module 2 for the benefit of our classes today. Okay. Uh, we are now on module 2. Module 2 is all about writing our first program. Okay. So we will gonna write our first program. So now here is our first uh, program. Okay, so by the way, before uh, we start, okay, I would just like to ask you to please create an account in so-called online GDB. Okay, so click online GDB, search for online GDB. Then here, uh, just log out. Then here, please sign up using your UA account. Okay, so since I have already an account, so I just need to log in with my Google. Uh, medyo, ano lang. Okay, so here, I have my online GDB. Now, here in projects, you just need to create folder for you to at least compile all the uh, activities that you are doing. So for me, I have created here a folder named Programming 1 2025. So I'll just click Programming 21, Programming 1 2025. Then I'll just create new project. Okay. Now herein, you may want to remove this one. So it will save you some spaces. So here, by default, um because I'm using an online compiler and debugger for C++. Now, we have here by default, okay, by default, it contains some few lines of code, okay, and with this one, let's just um, dissect or check check each line if uh, what are these lines. So, or we'll just create na lang. We'll just create from scratch. Okay, so I'll just delete it. Now we have here hash hashtag include, okay, IO stream. Now this line is a preprocessor directive, okay, in C++ that will tell the compiler to include the input output stream or the IO stream, input output stream. Okay, this is a library available in C++, wherein it allows us to work with input and output operations in C++. Now the next line will be in main. Okay, in your int main. Okay, int main is the beginning of your main function. Okay, um, this serves as the entry point of a C++ program. Now, every C++ program must have a main function. The uh, because the int before uh, the int before this main function, okay, um, this indicates that that this function will return an integer value. Okay, again, this int here or this int word here or keyword, okay, is used to indicate, okay, that this function, which is the main function, will return an integer value. Now, to comment or to provide some comment or highlights or reminders that you will documentation you will be used for documentation of your program. We have here the so-called comment. Okay, comment. Okay, comments are these are ignored. Okay, these are ignored by the compiler. Okay, ano ba yung gamit niyan? It will just serve as a somewhat part of the documentation for that certain block or for that certain line of code or for that code. Okay, so they are being ignored by the compiler and usually and are being used, okay, to provide explanations, okay, or documentation for our code. So if you want to provide comment, just put two slashes, then uh, all in that line will be treated as comment. Okay. Now we have here std. Okay, std cout. Okay. Then meaning, okay, what is this cout? Okay. This line is responsible for printing, okay, the content of this one, okay, to the console. So we have here, for example, stdc out hello world, okay, then std or standard and line, okay, then let me just copy it again, c out, let's put another line, let's put here hello ua, okay, then again std and line, okay. Next, we have here return 0. Okay. Uh, by the way, cout. Okay. Cout here is an object representing the standard output stream. Okay, which is the console. Now, this one, these two um, lesser than symbol, no, that one. Uh, this is a so-called insertion operator. Okay, these are insertion operators. These are being used to insert data into the output stream. So anything that is placed after these two objects here, okay, everything after that one will be displayed on your stream. Okay. In this case, if I will to run this one or save and run this program or this program, it will give or it will display hello world for this certain line. Okay. Now we have here a return 0. Okay. This line will be used to exit the main function in the program itself. The 0 here indicates that the program has complete or has a completed or has completed successfully. Okay. A non-zero return value typically indicates an error or abnormal termination. Now we have here curly brace. This will mark, okay, the end of the main function. Okay. Now, if okay, let's first run this one. So if we will to run this one, C++, select C++. Okay, it will give you wait, I'm lacking of one column. Then run. As you can see, uh, the words or phrases after the insertion operator is being displayed in your console or in this string. Same thing with hello UA. Okay, hello UA. Now, uh, to write this one, we have this using namespace std. Okay, it's a namespace used to or used by the standard library to avoid name conflicts. This is being used to avoid using every time accessing elements of the standard library. We will be using we will use the using directive. So in this case, we have here an example. So if we will to remove, okay, now maybe sasabihin nyo, ano ba to, STD pa ulit-ulit. Okay, STD siya. Now, that's fine. Okay, or pag wala kasi yan, it will, kumbaga parang define na that is part of the standard input-output string. Okay, so I'll just place here using namespace std. Okay, so what we will try to remove here are all standard or all stds here. So we'll just remove this one. So plainly it will just be C out. Then afterwards you have your end line or the end L. Okay. So if I will to run this one, okay, it will just display same thing. Now, what if we don't have this line using namespace std? Okay, it will cause you an error. Now, what is that error? Error cout was not declared in this scope. Okay, so to correct that one again, ang gagawin natin is to put the std cout. Okay, so that's the std. Now, if I will be putting it here again, just run. Okay, it will just display the content of these two lines. Now, let's proceed with variable declaration in some best practices. The rules for declaring variables. Okay, let's check variable declaration initialization. Now, to declare a variable with its data type, okay, we initialize variables when declaring them to prevent using initialized values. So in this example, we have here a variable declaration. Okay, in the first part of your um, declaration is the data type. So in this case, we have here an integer, okay, um, the old one, which we use to define, okay, the variable. Now we have here a variable declaration, the data type. Then you have the name, or you have here the variable. Okay, so in this case, that's int age. So we have here a variable named age, which has a data type of int. Now the initialization happens when we put the first value of our variable. Okay. Now, to use the script, or the first guidelines and best practices in declaring a variable is to use descriptive names. Okay. Choose variable names that are descriptive and that will convey the purpose of that variable. Okay. So we have here an example. Instead of just putting you in your variable, why not just put user age if that will be used to uh, fetch some, okay, if we are to fetch the age of our user, okay, rather than TA, we'll just make use of total amount, okay, which will indicate that this is the summation of all amount in our case. Another one is the naming conventions, okay, camel case for variables and Pascal case for type names, which includes classes and structs. So we have here an example, okay, which is item price, student name, and max value. Okay, next we initialize, okay, variables. Uninitialized variables can lead to undefined behavior. Later on in your program, um, it might, okay, give you into trouble. Okay, so one. Next, choose the appropriate data type for each variable that you will be using, because over or misdeclaration, okay, or misuse of data type can also affect the performance of the program. Okay, so we have here, okay, we choose or we have here an example which is int count is equals to 0. Int count is a um, variable declaration. Okay, so here we have here int, which is a data type of your count variable. So here another is to avoid global variables. As much as possible, we minimize the use of global variables, but it will most of the time spent. Okay. We in declaring variable, you should also be consistent. Okay, be consistent in your variable naming and declaration style throughout your code base. And next, follow any coding standards or conventions established within, for example, within our within our organization for that matter. Okay. Now, we also avoid Hungarian. So what is Hungarian? Putting an initial value before the name. Okay. This include a prefixes that will indicate their data type. So we have here IA. Now we use comments when necessary. I have already explained that earlier, and avoid reusing variable names. Okay, avoid reusing the same variable name for a different purposes within the same scope. So we have here a guidelines, and best practices is also check compiler warnings. Again, we enable compiler warnings, and we address any warnings related to unused variables. Now,